The Most Precious Gift. Part 1. Long ago, there was a merchant named Luca who sailed to faraway places in search of spices. He loaded up his ship with goods such as leather, olive oil, and cloth, and traded them for nutmeg, cinnamon, and cloves. One day, while at sea, a large storm blew his ship toward a small island. Luca sailed to shore and was welcomed by the people and their king. Seeing that Luca was hungry, the island king invited him to lunch. Arriving at the castle, Luca followed the king into the dining room. As they sat down, soldiers with sharp sticks came and surrounded the room. They looked nervously toward the hallway. Luca was puzzled. "Forgive me if I am bold," he said to the king, "but I must ask, why do the soldiers stare at the doorway? Is something dangerous out there?" Before the king could answer, a large group of rats rushed into the hall and leapt onto the table. Using their sticks, the soldiers tried to scare the rats, but that was of no use. They ate up whole cakes and cheeses, spilled drinks everywhere, and knocked over plates and bowls. At first, Luca was frightened, but he thought, "I can't run away like a coward." So he looked on calmly until he came up with a plan. Part 2. Luca ran to his ship. Minutes later, he came back with a basket and handed it to the king. The king opened the lid, and out jumped 2 cats. No sooner did the cats catch sight of the rats than the cats started chasing the pests, making them flee deep into the forest. The disappearance of the rats made the king grin with pleasure. "What wonderful animals these cats are," the king said. "Thank you," Luca said. "They are my gift to you." Just then, a chest filled with precious jewels was brought into the dining room. "The cats have changed our lives," the king said. "We thank you with these jewels." And so, Luca sailed back home with his new riches. After he arrived, he told everyone his story. Part 3. A merchant named Marco heard Luca's story and thought, "Wow, that king gave Luca a fortune for 2 cats. Imagine if I brought things that are worth something." So the next day, Marco filled his ship with precious things and sailed to the king's island. He was a sneaky man and told no one of his plan. After a long, hard journey, Marco reached the island. As soon as he arrived, he was greeted by the king and his people. Marco said, "I am a friend of Luca's. I bring you wonderful gifts." Marco unloaded the ship until it was empty. He gave the king fine silks and jewelry, special spices and nuts, and much more. The king was delighted. He looked at the treasures and disappeared into the castle. He returned, carrying a simple basket. Marco knew the basket must contain something really special. He lifted the cover and looked inside. What Marco saw made him gasp. His face turned red, and his body froze. He tried to talk, but could not say a word. Inside the basket were 2 kittens, one black and one white. "You do not have to speak," the king said happily. "I understand completely, for I have given you the most precious gift of all."